Welcome to the Tech Ranch, live and local here on Super Talk 1270. The latest gadgets, online security, websites and apps, social media, and so much more. How can technology help you? Let's find out. It's time for the Tech Ranch on Super Talk 1270.
From our studios in beautiful Mandan, North Dakota, along the mighty Missouri River, here is your guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
Roads. Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Okay.
You remember that quote?
It's from a movie, obviously.
Yes. Well, it's finally here, Jim.
Okay.
The future that Doc Brown and Marty McFly portrayed in Part 2 of Back to the Future is upon us.
We've got to go back, Marty.
The time-traveling machine, or the time-traveling DeLorean, I should say, which is the car they used in the movie, was programmed to go to October 21, 2015.
That's
Wednesday. So we're going to take a look today at how they portrayed 2015 back in 1985 and where we're at today.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see how the Cubs do.
You know, I just think it's amazing that they are actually in the hunt.
Yeah.
Now, of course, they've lost a couple games here.
Oh, yeah.
But you never know. I mean, you know,
I'd love to see them pull it off.
It to me is amazing that that prediction. I don't know if I want to call it prediction or not, but that is possibly going to be here. But Miss Metaverse Katie Aquino will be joining us later in the show to talk about this as well. And we are anxiously waiting a phone call, which is not materializing here, Jim. So
I'm watching.
Yes, I see that. So you and I are just going to have to kind of. Well, you know, I was gone for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you should ask me about how Charlotte was.
Well, how was Charlotte?
It was nice.
Oh, okay. Next question.
So I was got back from Charlotte last Monday night, and then Wednesday morning I jetted down to the Lafayette and Bentonville area, home of Walmart. And I interviewed many companies.
Arkansas?
Yes, Northwest
Okay.
Arkansas. Yeah.
All right.
And they actually packaged it as Northwest Arkansas. They don't talk about all the little towns because it just there are many, many little towns that make up that region. But Bentonville and Fayetteville are the two, larger ones there, of course. And it was interesting. I was at the home office of Walmart and the home office of Sam's Club.
Right.
And I also had a chance to visit with some technologies in the area as well. The one that probably impressed me the most, and I think that you're really going to see a lot of in the future, is a company called Wow Technologies. And
wow.
It is actually wow.
Wow.
So what they have done, I'm sure you're familiar with litmus paper.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Changes colors when you drop water on it or
yeah,
whatever.
In
right?
grade school, they did the chemistry experiments in school.
Okay.
In science class, and you'd stick, you'd have you blue, and you put it in the acid and it would turn pink, I think.
Right. Well, imagine the possibility if you go to the hospital and you're wondering if you have a particular type of disease or condition or whatever, right? And you could do a litmus test of that. So that would just tell you, yes, I have it, no, I don't. Wouldn't that be kind of cool? Instead of taking a blood sample, sending it to the lab, waiting weeks to get the results or whatever it takes.
I mean, depending on what you're talking about, there can be a whole battery of very invasive tests.
Yes. Yep. So what they have discovered, they have 39 separate things that they can test for, and they just take, just like you were to do a glucose test with diabetes, right? They take a very, very small sampling of blood. It goes onto a litmus type of paper, and within 10 minutes, it'll tell you if you have that condition or not.
Whoa.
Isn't that cool?
I like that.
And there are 6 conditions that they're actually testing for already in Europe. There's a couple that have just become FDA approved here. And, you think about this. Let's say a woman ends up in an emergency room and the doctor doesn't know if she's pregnant or not. I'm just throwing this out at you, car accident, whatever. You don't have the traditional means to find out if she's pregnant, but they want to know, right? So they would take this blood test and this litmus paper type of blood test, and within 10 minutes they would know.
Right.
And, it goes through a whole battery of different things. And the other thing that's amazing about this is that it's very low cost. We're talking under $20 a test.
Oh, that is reasonable.
So
what happened?
Yeah. And this is something that they think that the hospitals will be in that neighborhood. So, it's disruptive in a way, too, because a lot of labs and stuff, I'm sure, would be very concerned about this technology and the money that they make here. But if it's for the general welfare of our population. I'm hoping that this stuff will move forward and rather quickly. So that was very interesting. A company called Wall Technologies out of Fayetteville.
Fayetteville
is where they were at. Yeah. The other thing that was interesting too, I talked to 3 different clothing companies, and they all got their start on social media, which I find amazing. You know, they started showing some of the things that they were designing, whether it was T-shirts or ladies' dresses or whatever it was. All of them had the same theme. They had no money when they started. Most of them were $100, $500, whatever when they started. They show a couple designs and then gain some traction, reinvested. This one company in particular is a $10 million company already and not even 2 years old. That's pretty impressive. Yeah. Pretty impressive. All because of social media. They figured out ways to attract people to their Facebook pages, to Instagram, whatever. So that was fun. Another company, which is in the crowdsourcing arena. This is interesting, too, and you and I need to do this. It's called Field of Agents.
Field of Agents?
Field of Agents.
Okay.
It's not a James Bond thing.
Secret agent man.
And what they do is it's almost like a secret shopper type of scenario.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So a company gets a hold of them and they want to know whether, a particular segment of the population likes this particular beer or whatever. So they'll contact Field of Agents. They will put it out there saying that we need 5,000 people that will go drink a beer at a tavern and give us the results. They'll have some questionnaire or whatever. They'll reimburse you for the cost of the beer plus give you $7 to basically fill out the quick survey or whatever. Yeah. And that's kind of how it works. And you get reimbursed and you get your extra money within a couple hours after filling this thing out. So, and it's a crowdsourcing thing. So what'll happen is that it'll actually pop up and you can look at the map and it'll show you where the different businesses are in your area that you can go do this with.
I think we have our call.
All right. And who do we have on the line?
That is Justin Shear with LiveCube.
Justin, how you doing today?
Doing great.
Great. Well, we're just going to put you on hold for just a couple of minutes here because you are actually just a few minutes early. We'll finish up the segment, so just hang on, okay?
All right. We got him on hold.
All right. And Justin will be on to talk a little bit about LiveCube, which is an event technology that we'll be talking about, which is be kind of cool. So anyway, those are the things that I've seen down in Bentonville and Fayetteville, Jim. By the way, Bentonville, you think of it as the home of Walmart, right?
Yeah.
And what would you envision the town to be like?
Like one big giant Walmart.
So I know you're going to find this clever, but of course, I ask everybody: is there a Walmart around here somewhere? It was. They have some unique things, but the downtown area was almost like rural America meets urban America. It was just kind of a weird deal. But weird and good type of thing because it's this very quaint downtown area with coffee shops and restaurants and that type of thing. But Nestle has an office there.
Chocolate
company. DreamWorks.
Nestle makes the very best.
DreamWorks.
Spielberg.
Has an office there. And these are all smaller offices and many of them all over the place. And the reason they're there is because they work closely with Walmart with their things that they sell through the company. So I thought that was very, very interesting. So after the break, everybody, Justin Shear with livecube.co will be here to talk about a new event app. So come on back.
Right now, 54.
Dave Ramsey is heard here. Super Talk 1270.
Follow the Guru of Geek at Facebook.com/The Tech Ranch or Twitter at Guru of Geek or TheTechRanch.com. Here again is your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson.
And we want to thank everybody who listens to us around the country and around the world. I was messing that up already.
From around the world, across the nation, and up your avenue. What?
That's very good, Jim.
Thank you.
I was trying to figure out a way to say that is our 2-year anniversary of being with the Blueberry Network today.
Oh.
Which is why we were enjoying blueberry turnovers.
I was going to say.
A little bit ago.
Nice and flaky, too.
Yeah. Of course, we're on Tuned In. We're on the Tech Podcast Network, Roku, Apple TV. Of course, our own app, Radio Pup. So all kinds of places you can get the Tech Ranch later on.
And we stream online.
And we stream online as well.
SuperTalk1270.com.
All kinds of places you can catch the show. Of course, we're into our Back to the Future episode, Roads.
Marty, we got to go back, Marty.
October 21, 2015 is the day.
Wednesday.
So we'll be talking a lot about what the movie projected we would be at today. And
Yeah, we're going to have Crispin Glover come in and serenade us a little bit later on in the show. Have you heard this?
No.
He actually cut an album.
Really?
I've got a clip from it we're going to play in a few minutes here.
That's exciting to hear.
After we talk with our next guest.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll get right to it, too. Justin Shearer. Justin is with livecube.co. Justin, how you doing?
Doing great today. How are you?
Doing fine as well. Glad to have you on the show today. So we're just going to kind of get right into it here. You have quite a background, of course, in development of things, and I'm not going to go through all of what I was sent about you, although I probably should. But you are a hybrid designer and developer with over 15 years of direct experience in the engagement space, and which is why you have developed LiveCube, I'm sure. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what the app has?
All right. So, we talk about LiveCube being the world's most engaging event app. And basically, we made the app because there's really a need at live events and conferences for something to tie people together in a new way. Social media has been out for a long time. Everybody knows about Twitter, maybe uses it a little bit. But when you're in a big group of people like that, there's nothing like you don't know who's sitting next to you, basically. And we wanted to make a better experience for event attendees and a better engaging product that event organizers could use. So we created LiveCube.
Okay, so I'm just going to stop you there just for a second. So this isn't something like Eventbrite or whatever where you would go on and create an event for people to register at. Your app is actually for when people are at an event already.
Exactly. So Eventbrite gets you to the event, gets you into the event, and they kind of stop there.
Right.
We that's exactly where we start.
Okay.
So as soon as you walk in the door is when you use our app, and it basically you sign in with your Twitter account. If it's a public event, we also have for corporate events, they can use kind of just a purely private setup where you log in with the email and password.
Okay.
But instantly you're in the conversation with everybody else that's in the room that's using LiveCube.
So let's say, of course, in a couple of months, CES will be taking place in Las Vegas, and I will be there. And I'm assuming you probably will be there as well. So when I go to CES, I can just turn on the LiveCube app, and then what happens?
Okay, so LiveCube is really set up from the beginning by the organizers. They hire us, so it's not something you just show up at any old event and fire it up.
I see. Okay.
It's set up by the event organizers ahead of time with all of the event info, the schedule and the speaker info. So that's just the basics. That's just where it starts. And,
okay.
Then once you're into sessions, let's say where you have a speaker, you're listening to a speaker, and there's an audience. That's when LiveCube really starts to shine because you'll have certain people. You might write some posts or post some pictures about what the speaker's talking about, and everybody else in the room gets to see that, and it goes out to your Twitter account as well. So you're sort of live tweeting the event, and a lot of people are. Some people are writing posts, and a lot of people are more watching and reading posts. But it really is set up for both people to be there, both types of people, and there's a whole point system and gamification built around it as well.
So if I'm at an event that's using LiveCube, then for example, we're all in there. I don't have to go searching through a bunch of hashtags or whatever to find what people are posting on Twitter about that particular event. This all just kind of accumulates within the app, but at the same time is going out to Twitter.
Yeah, so it kind of is all of the above, and it really does work, especially when you mentioned hashtags. The hashtags, when you go to write a post, are pre-filled in for you, as well as the speaker handles for the session that you're in. So you're mentioning the speakers, and you're mentioning the hashtag as well. So anybody monitoring from outside on social media is getting the benefit of it as well.
Okay, and how do your packages work? Is it something that even as a small event planner I could utilize, or is this designed around larger events?
It really is designed around larger events. We are working on a way of using it for smaller events. There's kind of a critical mass problem. If you only have 20 people in the room, it doesn't have nearly as much impact as if you're talking about 100 people up to, let's say, in the thousands of people in the room at the same time.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. And how do we find you again?
So the website is livecube.co, and again, event organizers are the ones that kind of hire us. But the average person will see this coming up in more and more events. We've done everything from corporate events. We've done Inc. Magazine 5000 last year. Done just all kinds of different things with theater. So it is something that you'll see coming up.
Okay. And the website I'm looking at right now is fantastic. It's a very colorful, very engaging website too. So I encourage people to go take a look at this and find out what the next big thing in events are going to be. So pleasure having you on the show, Justin.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Take care. All right. So out of the movie, Jim.
Yeah.
What did you think would be the thing that we would see in 2015?
The Crispin Glover album.
You just really said on this.
I gotta
All right.
play. Okay.
Let's play it. Let's hear it.
Kind of a Halloween vibe
Yes.
right there at the beginning. Actually, this is a remake of an oldie from the 60s. You'll recognize it in a moment here.
Okay. Of course, Crispin Glover was Marty McFly's father.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
You'll love it.
Are we serious here?
I'm as serious as a heart attack on the toilet.
Was he trying to be funny with this, or is he being serious here?
Well, that's the thing with Crispin Glover. You don't really know. You never really know. Anyway.
So, do you know if he had any sales of this?
I have no idea. I'm trying to, I wanted to do like a little Battle of the Bands thing on Facebook with this. I was asking people which they think is worse, the Honey Boo Boo rap.
Okay.
Where Honey Boo Boo does the rap thing.
Yep.
Or this.
That's going to be tough, although this is pretty bad.
Yeah, this is pretty damn bad.
Pretty bad. Wow.
That
All right,
and
Crispin.
that and the old German guy doing You Don't Own Me. I'm not just one of your little boys. Like Dr. Strangelove going all S&M on this.
Right. Yeah, this was, I'm thinking Crispin needs to stay in the acting space.
Yeah. Keep your day gig, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, remember the Letterman where he did the karate kick? He karate kicked in Dave's direction, damn near kicked him in the face.
Yes, I remember that.
Off.
Yeah. He's been involved in a couple of interesting things. Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, so what technology did you think would come out of the movie?
Well, I think everybody agrees that the
hoverboard,
surfboard, skateboard, rather.
Probably the most popular thing that people talk about anyway. And, there's been
a time-traveling DeLorean would be kind of
That'd be okay. Too. Oh, and speaking of that, you're going to love this. So Ford, I'm going to give them a little shout-out here. Ford is actually, for Back to the Future Day, you can get a flux capacitor upgrade in your 2016 Ford Focus. You will be able to go on their website, and for, I think it was $1.2 million, you can get the flux capacitor added. It does state on the website, though, that it is for entertainment purposes only.
Oh,
and that it won't allow your Ford Focus to actually time travel. But if it does,
they actually had to tell people this.
You don't want to actually go back and meet your former self because the consequences to the timeline continuum would be drastically altered. So,
like being your own grandfather or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm my own grandpa.
They had to actually put that discllaimer.
The old Robert Heinlein thing. I'm sure Katie's familiar with that story about the guy. Robert Heinlein wrote this whole story about what he called the bootstrap paradox.
Okay.
About a guy who basically was his own father or something.
Okay. Guess I've never seen that.
Which meant he did the Oedipus thing with his mother, which I don't even want to think about.
I know that I have heard the song "I Am My Own Grandpa." So, absolutely. So, that's kind of interesting, and I agree. The hoverboard is probably the most prominent thing.
Yeah,
And
We got a break coming up.
I really, I think I want our regular bumper music back,
Oh,
Jim.
you're such a spoil sport. I'm telling
just
you.
saying. All right, everybody. After the break, we will be joined with Miss Metaverse Katie Aquino, and we will really delve into Back to the Future. So come on back. It's an amazing, amazing cover.
It's postmodern, man.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Hi, Katie.
Joining us on the phone, Miss Metaverse Katie Aquino. Katie, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Mo. How are you doing?
Doing fine as well. I hope you enjoyed that.
Oh, yes. Wow.
Jim is just having a good time with Crispin Glover today. That's all I can say. So anyway, you and I have been traveling fools the last couple weeks, and it's good that we actually land on the same show on the same day here.
Oh, wow. I know. You've been all over the place. I've been all over the place. Look at us, huh?
Yeah. So what were you doing over in Dubai?
Yes, well, I went to Dubai and Abu Dhabi.
Did you go to
for
Dubai
a
something?
consulting job, and it was amazing.
You didn't hear Jim, did you?
No.
All right, Jim, throw your joke out there again.
I said, did you go to Dubai something?
Oh, I did. You cannot buy something in Dubai.
And she stopped off in India to check out the New Delhi. But
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Be here all week.
So
You know what?
did you see
That
any
was amazing.
Did you see any cool technology while you were there?
There's so much going on. I mean, it's like two different worlds. Abu Dhabi is going to be the city of the future. I am so excited to just see where everything is going over there between Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Abu Dhabi was where I spent the majority of my stay. And over there, it came a very far way from where it used to be. In the last 40 years, it went from a fishing town to becoming this new epicenter of technology. And although there isn't much there now, I could definitely see it becoming the next Dubai. And for those who don't know what's going on in Dubai now, Dubai is full of innovation. It is like the city of the future now. When you go there, there's whole islands that are artificial islands that resemble the world. And there's these incredible hotels that look like the future. They have shows at night. And it's really incredible. If you haven't heard of anything in Dubai or the innovation going on over there, definitely check it out.
Well, we'll have to do a show on it sometime, I suppose. But of course, our theme today is Back to the Future.
Yeah.
So are you? The first thing, of course, is that on Wednesday night, the movie, in fact, Part 1 and Part 2 is playing across the country. Are you planning on attending someplace?
I was thinking about it. I think I kind of have to, don't I?
Oh, well, you don't have to. I mean, you could sit at home and watch it, of course, too. But we are putting a group of people here locally together that are going to.
Well, they're showing
attend.
part 2 here, which is the best of the 3, I think.
Right. I'm not sure. You know, a town to the north of us we were looking at because we were thinking about going up there for it. They're showing Part 1 and Part 2 up there.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if it's just Part 2 here or Part 1, Part 2 as well.
I don't know.
Have to check into that.
Part 2 is the one everybody seems to like.
Well, that's where they go to 2015, of course.
Yeah.
So that's why it's going to be the big thing. So of the movies, you know, when they go to 2015, Katie, what was the one technology that you were hoping for that would actually materialize in 2015?
I'd have to say hoverboards, just because hoverboards are the fantasy of Back to the Future Part 2, I feel like.
Okay, well, you're not unlike everybody else because I've asked, 20 people that question, and everybody says the same thing. So everybody wants hoverboards, I guess. So if they were ever to actually get something that would be commercialized, I know they've played around with this for years, and they still haven't quite figured it out. But and it's a safety factor. It isn't that they can't get them to float. It's that people can't ride them safely. So. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. So let's just go down. I don't know if you have a list or what you put together, but
Now, you realize this is very difficult for Katie because she was not even born when those movies came out.
I bet you she's watched one or two.
Oh, yeah.
So
I've watched them. I've definitely watched them.
that is a movie series, that trilogy, actually, that transcends time.
Yeah.
It really does. I mean, it's not like, a lot of movies that you and I grew up with, Jim, that the millennials and whatever today don't even care to watch. Back to the Future is something that, kids today watch it.
Yeah.
It's hip. I mean, a lot of the 80s and 90s stuff is hip nowadays.
Right.
It's retro.
It is. And, but yeah, I mean, talking about Back to the Future Part 2, it was such a huge part of our lives. And growing up, I mean, that was some of our favorite movies were the Back to the Future trilogy. And I going back to talking about how they're going to be having these trilogy screenings, I definitely will go see it in theaters because I love it. I love the trilogy. I think it's a part of all of our nostalgia, growing up and things like that. And I'm excited for it.
It's a blockbuster movie. There's nothing like seeing a movie like that the way it was intended to be seen in a theater on a big wide screen.
Yep.
Bigger than life.
So I'm hoping that they have a great response to this and a lot of people go out to it. It's kind of, I don't know. I'm trying to find the right word for it, I guess, but it is weird in a way that, I seen the movie when it came into theaters.
Yeah.
And I couldn't wait for flying cars. I mean, I'm serious. I just couldn't wait for all this technology. And, to see some of it materialize is kind of cool. Some
Where's
of
my
it
damn
hasn't.
jetpack?
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's some things. We don't have flying cars.
Well, I got that from
yet.
the Jetsons.
We're getting close to flying cars, though.
Yes, we are.
Aren't we, Katie?
Well, here's the thing. A lot of these things are already here, and that's what I really want to talk about today. I really want to get into the technology that's here versus what we saw in the movie.
Okay,
and,
so let's just go down that list here. Otherwise if we don't get to our list pretty soon, we're not going to get there. So let's go ahead and get started.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So I think that because you were just mentioning flying cars, I think that flying cars would be a good start.
Okay.
And you remember the Mueller Sky Car?
Yes.
I think we've talked about it before on our show, but Mueller has been around for 50 years.
Right.
I remember being in high school and watching videos when YouTube wasn't even out when I was in high school. It's crazy. And I remember seeing videos online way long ago all about the Mueller Sky Car and there being a flying car. So I always wondered, why didn't we get the Sky Car? Why didn't it become a huge success? And coincidentally, also, Mueller did an Indiegogo campaign last January, which I didn't even realize until today when I was doing some research.
Okay. And how'd they do?
Yeah, well, the thing is, they tried raising $958,000 for their manned, untethered Mueller M400X Sky Car.
Okay.
But they only ended up raising $29,000. So, unfortunately, it didn't seem like it was much of a success.
I think a lot of that, Katie, has to do with, there's a couple other companies that have flying cars models that they're working on. And I forget the acronym for them now, but many airports, by the way, are approved for this technology. And, cars that you can drive out to an airport and then fly off the runway is how it works. And they just haven't really taken off. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they just can't get, they're working on getting that price to sub $100,000, but that's the issue.
I don't know if I want to fly one of the original cutting edge ones. I would be concerned about the safety.
Most people would be, yeah.
Yeah, I would think this is still in the experimental stage.
Sure, absolutely. So that's kind of why I think things like this in crowdfunding just don't do well yet, Katie.
I just think the brand of Mueller hasn't kept up with the times, and not only that, if it was an autonomous Sky Car, it just seems like it's lacking some of the fundamental technologies that we're looking forward to in the future. So,
right.
First of all, they're talking about it being manned. They're talking about it being untethered. It just sounds very retro to me. The look of it looks very retro. It's all around retro. So let's talk about some of the actual cars that are very futuristic and might actually be the flying cars of the future.
Okay.
And one of those is the Terrafugia TFX.
Okay.
Have you seen that car?
I haven't seen it.
It's a concept, but the company said, Terrafugia is a company, they said that the technology is already here, and they believe that we're only a decade away from flying cars, which is pretty interesting. And they said their TFX uses battery-powered rotor blades to lift off and moves into forward flight using a gasoline-powered propeller like a fan for thrust. It carries 4 people and cruises at 200 miles per hour and flies to a destination using an autonomous navigation system.
I take that back. I have seen this car, and it's impressive. They've actually done some test runs on this already. And the point that you're getting to here is that because it's autonomous, you don't have to learn how to fly.
Exactly.
You just program it to take you someplace, and it will take you there. So
basically, it's a flying taxi cab.
Yes, exactly right. Exactly.
And I think that's what we want. I think that's what the people want. I think that there's a huge difference. We have expectations now as to, if we're going to crowdfund something and we want to invest and donate towards something, we expect it to be very future forward or exciting, or it has to give us that feeling, And I feel like unfortunately the Muller Sky car has kind of stopped in time. It kind of stopped in the early 2000s, late 90s. And that's why I think these other companies will be flourishing in the future. Well,
remember the book Megatrends came out in the 80s? I remember something in that book where he talked about the future, what was then considered the future, which is now more or less.
Yep.
And the guy said that actually it's kind of counterintuitive, but the future is probably going to look a lot like the present. That all of the great technological breakthroughs will be on a more subtle level. I mean, we'll all have computers in our household. But,
right.
I mean, basically, if you walk down the street, it's not going to look like we live in the world of the Jetsons.
And quite frankly, it is exactly that.
Yeah.
I mean, I really did feel that when I graduated from high school, by this time in our history, we wouldn't have cars that have tires on them anymore.
And we do have some incredible, unbelievable, marvelous technological things going on.
Right.
But they're going on inside our houses, inside our offices with the computers and whatnot.
Well, and even inside our cars.
Or inside our cars, yeah.
It's just that the outside of these things haven't changed a whole lot. So, yeah, I know. We're pushing up against the clock
and
here,
for the
Jim.
miracle of modern technology, we can hear Crispin Glover
one more time.
on YouTube. One last time.
Really appreciate that, Jim. All right, everybody, after the break, Jim, Katie, and I will continue our conversation on Back to the Future. So come on back.
You keep playing where you shouldn't be playing.
Right now, 55.
News headlines and weather together. Live on Super Talk 1270.
Follow the Guru of Geek everywhere he goes. Post your comments or questions at thetechranch.com. Once again, your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson.
Don't need money, don't take fame.
And, of course, we had to throw that out. This is Huey Lewis, The Power of Love, which is the theme song to Back to the Future Part 2.
Back to the Future. We got to go back, Marty.
And that's what we're talking about today.
It's your kids. They're really messed up.
You do that pretty good, Jim.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I got that from watching Taxi. Different character.
Yeah. But, same person, though. Yeah.
I know her. What does a yellow light mean?
Of course, we're doing the Back to the Future special today. Marty McFly and Doc Brown fly to October 21st, 2015 in the movie Back to the Future. Who would have thought that we would be here 30 years later?
Who'd have thunk it?
To compare the movie to the actual time frame.
Wait, what do you mean? Who'd have thought we'd be here?
Well,
you think we'd get nuked or something?
Well, we had Y2K in
Reagan
there.
would blow us up, or
did you think you were going to survive Y2K?
I don't see why not.
Okay. I mean, a lot of people thought that the world was going to end then.
That's true.
So at least we'd be put back to the dark ages, and then we wouldn't have things like YouTube to watch these things.
That's right.
So, yeah. Yeah, amazing how that didn't happen either.
Well, we had a couple of close calls in the 80s, We'll talk about that
some other time. Yeah. Of course, joining us on the phone, Miss Metaverse, Katie Aquino. And Katie, we were just going over some technologies that have been introduced since the movie, of course, and how things have gone along since then. So my next thing is video calls. Of course, Marty McFly gets fired from his boss via a video call.
Marty or the father?
Oh, you're right.
George or whatever.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think George gets fired from his boss, right? Yep. But, of course, we have that technology now.
To fire people by long...
Skype.
Yeah, we can actually do video calls. In fact, I would say that the technology we have now far succeeds what they were actually shown in the movie. What do you think, Katie? Did we lose Katie? We did lose Katie. She's calling right back in here again.
Let's try this here. Katie.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, there you are. There you are.
You're discombobulated.
Well, I actually call in through Skype, and what's funny is when I just said the word Skype, it crashed on me.
Oh, my goodness. See, it was thinking that you wanted to turn it off or something. So
Yeah.
So okay, so we were
Why
just
would you
talking
call
about
in on Skype? We can't. Oh, that's right, because you've got your little setup there.
That's right.
Yeah,
Ah.
cool. I didn't know that you were on Skype with that. We'll have to talk about that sometime too.
Yeah.
All right, so we're talking about the video call, and I had stated before you got disconnected there that we probably have better technology than what they were shown in the movie. What do you think of that?
Absolutely. I think that a lot of the technologies like that are different than today, but they had the right idea, just different. You could tell that it was influenced by the technology of the times. For instance, just like the video glasses, right? In one of the scenes, the young Marty McFly is sitting in, I think, the older Marty McFly's house, and he's wearing these JVC video glasses, right?
Right.
And the difference now is that we have Microsoft HoloLens. It's actually pretty wild how similar they kind of look if you look at it. You know, it's kind of like the future, really, when you look at Microsoft HoloLens, because unlike the televisions that you just described in the movie in the future 2015 versus what we have today and Skype and everything, our technology is way better. And that's thanks to apps. I think apps have completely revolutionized everything. We could put all these technologies on our hardware, software, and we could just keep on updating it all. And yes, like you're saying before, now we could do a lot of things thanks to Skype. We can have conference calls, and using HoloLens, while you're wearing the glasses, not only can you have a Skype chat with somebody, but you can also have notes and use the Holo Notes. You can actually write notes on what you're seeing through these augmented reality glasses, which are HoloLens. So there's a lot of different ways that it's all becoming like the future thanks to today's technology. And I think that Back to the Future definitely was spot on with a lot of things.
Yeah, and there's no doubt that, who would have thought, well, I think 30 years ago people were thinking about video calls, but probably not in the form that maybe was in the movie. And, of course, that is one technology that has been around for a little bit already and just getting better all the time. The other thing, too, that I find interesting is that in the movie there were a lot of flat screen televisions, whether it was in the rock and roll or what was it, the 80s cafe where they had Ronald Reagan and Michael Jackson trying to fight each other with their TV screens or whatever that was. All flat screen technology 30 years ago, and here we are today. And Jim, would you want to go back to your old TV screen?
No.
How about you, Katie?
Nope.
Those things were heavy, clumsy. It's amazing. And of course, now, in a very short period of time here, and I've played with this technology already, we have TV screens that you'll be able to fold up and put in your pocket and unfold again and watch. So that's where we're headed with some of the TV technologies or screen technologies that we have now. So I just wanted to throw that out there since you got into that. So what's next on your list there, Katie?
Well, I think one of the fails here was that scene where there was the shark, the Jaws, right? The holographic Jaws shark,
right.
At the movie theater, and the young Marty's walking down the street, and all of a sudden the shark, this hologram that's supposed to be like the future Jaws, sequel, comes out and goes to bite Marty, and he's freaked out by it. Everyone knows that scene. We're all familiar with it, but we don't have that, and that's one of the things. Things that I'm upset about are wall screens.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this technology you're talking about isn't readily available.
Oh, no.
However, and this is 3 or 4 years ago, I'm at CES, and I'm walking down an aisle, and the people in front of me are ducking like crazy.
I remember that.
Going all over the place.
That
yes,
on the show.
yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are people doing in front of me here? And as you walk up to it, because you can't see anything, right? You walk up there, and all of a sudden, here comes this tennis ball out of nowhere, and you're ducking to get away from it, and it's a hologram. And then I look over at the Pepsi machine that's sitting there, and there's this monster on the side of it clawing its way into this machine. Again, a hologram. So this technology is available. It's just not readily available, and I'm thinking it's just too expensive to implement.
Working on.
Oh yeah. And at that same display, Ray Romano was
Ray Romano.
they had him on a pedestal, and they were showing, what was the movie or the show he was in?
Raymond. Everybody loves
Yeah,
Raymond.
everybody loves
Everybody
Raymond.
loves Raymond.
Yeah. They were showing an episode of that, and all it was just a pedestal in the middle of the room, and you could just watch. You could put your hand through it.
Yeah.
It was just
Oh,
incredibly
Deborah,
cool.
you're putting your hand through me again.
So the technology is there, Katie, just not widely implemented. So on to your next thing.
All right, let's go back to hoverboards, right?
Okay,
Because
Sure.
hoverboards are here. I would say the 2014 to 2015 would be the year of the hoverboard. And that's for many reasons. There was a lot of hoverboards that were talked about in the media in the last year. Now, that all started when that website, I cannot remember which one, but anyway, there was a prank with Tony Hawk and a bunch of other celebrities, and they were promoting this viral video that featured, in quotes, this hoverboard, that a real hoverboard was here, and everyone freaked out. They're so excited about it, and it turned out to be a prank.
Right.
But just afterwards, there were a couple companies that came forward and said, this is not a prank. We have a real hoverboard, and this is our technology. One of those was Hendo Hover, and I've spoken about Hendo Hover here in the past.
Right.
And they had raised quite a lot of money, actually, for their hoverboard company. But unfortunately, unlike the Marty McFly hoverboard, you have to have a special kind of surface for it to glide and for it to work. So then, after that, not long after that, Lexus came out with their hoverboard. And people got all excited about that, and they wanted to learn more about it, but it was very vague, and it was just very promotional. You know, you could tell it was just a promotion they were doing. And it turned out that, once again, they could only get that hoverboard to work with a certain surface.
Right.
So I'm going to leave off with this. Drones are going to innovate the way we're thinking of hoverboards. And this summer, a guy named Catalin Alexandru Duru became the first person ever to break the Guinness World Record title for the farthest journey by hoverboard. And this guy made a hoverboard that's actually a drone that he stands on and controls as he's gliding over the water. And you could see the video on YouTube on the Guinness Book World Records.
How far did he go?
Really far. You've got to see it. It's amazing. It reminds me of those jetpacks you can wear over the water.
There you go, Jim. You got yourself a new jetpack.
I've been saying, where's my damn jetpack? Well, there it is. There's my damn jetpack.
Yeah, there's a lot of jetpacks. The ones that go over the water I've seen, but not like ones that go over land. And then, yes, so this hoverboard is actually like a drone or a multicopter, and he stands on it and can flies around. So it's really cool.
All right.
I think we're going to see more of these technologies coming out. And I think that although the hoverboard, you know, we have our certain kind of hoverboard in mind, it might look different. And I think eventually we'll have it.
Yeah. All right, everybody, make sure you get out on Wednesday because there's all kinds of events going on across the country. Go to nationaldaycalendar.com if you want to find out about local events in your area. So enjoy Back to the Future today, everybody.
Make a one man weep, make another man sing. Change your heart to a little white dove. More than a feeling, that's the power of love. Tough in the diamonds, rich like cream. Stronger and harder than a bad girl's dream. Make a bad one good, make a wrong one right.
ABC News, Super Talk 1270. Accurate news, stimulating talk. This is KLXX AM, Mandan, Bismarck.